Welcome, fight fans, to another edition of Deep Waters here on ProBox TV, your boxing channel. I am George DiMattelis, alongside the champs. We got the Magic Man, Paulie Malignaggi, and desde España, we have Chris Algieri. You know how to throw in the Spanish accent there, Chris. How you doing there? How's life in Spain?
All good, all good. Enjoying myself, having a nice vacation I haven't had in a very long time, enjoying my retirement. So it's all good.
All right, well, let's talk about a situation that's, well, not too good for Ryan Garcia. News breaking yesterday about
Ryan
his
Garcia
suspension.
announced his retirement too.
Oh, true.
Right.
Yeah, he just might be.
Days apart.
Chris, he overshadowed your retirement.
I retired before him, which is wild.
Yeah.
And he saw you and said, "You know what?
You know what?
I'm gonna ride on this parade."
He
might be in Spain right now.
Yeah, he might be in Spain. He might be flying over there to join Chris, or, well, I don't know if you want to be partying with Ryan Garcia, but let's talk about.
Actually, I do.
Oh, yeah, it might be.
Sounds like fun.
Well, you might have to wait a while. He might have to wait a while before he gets back into the ring because his suspension is going to last a year. So, Chris, what do you expect from Ryan Garcia in a year's time when he can be officially reinstated?
You know, it's interesting because I didn't expect him to fight the rest of this year anyway. You know, when we were talking about the possible suspensions and how long it was going to be, you know, there was floating around the idea that it could be a 6-month ban, which I was like, all right, well, that doesn't really make any sense. It's not going to affect him in any way. He still wins. A year ban is a little bit different. He probably would have got in maybe by the end of the year, maybe early next year. Now he's going to have to wait till at least April to get things going. But also, when you're a money train, the way that Ryan Garcia is, fights usually take a long time to come together. So it's probably not that big of a deal in terms of the time, but in terms of what that has left on his legacy and to people's opinions in the sport, it does matter. Does he come back and fight? It's hard to say. You know, it's really difficult to ever predict what Ryan Garcia is going to do next. He really is a bit of a wild card and you know, goes with the moment. And he makes moments, big opportunities at times, and other times he makes big failures. So I'm not really sure. It's hard to say, hard to speak on what he's going to do in the future because I don't know if he knows what he's going to do in the future. And he kind of just seems like he goes by what you know what's around him. So only time will tell, and we'll see.
Paulie, what do you think about what will happen with Ryan Garcia in a year's time if his suspension is lifted in April of 2025?
What to think about? I think that you know, he's gonna take that year off. He's gonna consider what he's gonna do, and then he's gonna come back. I mean, I don't think he's gonna retire, even if this is a retirement that he's making like he's talking about. You know, I honestly, you know, Ryan is a guy who creates headlines, makes headlines, but what are we supposed to think of him? I mean, dude, he's suspended. Chris said you never really know or predict what Ryan Garcia is going to do. Yeah, you didn't really expect the mayhem of the build-up to the fight. Then because of the mayhem, you didn't really expect him to win the fight. Then when he wins the fight, he shocks you. Then when he fails a PED test, you realize why he won the fight. And now we're here, and now he's suspended. So, I mean, I don't know. It's it's a lot. There's a lot going on.
So in this year's time with Ryan Garcia, right? If he does decide to come back and fight, should he be fighting at 140 because he looked big against Devin Haney in that fight? Is that the right weight class for him, or should he explore 147 or maybe even 154, Chris? What do you think?
I don't think it's whether it should or could or would. It's more of a could than should. So I don't think he can make 140. He couldn't make it that night, and he looked huge. I was there that night. You know, he looked all of 154 pounds. He looked like a junior middleweight in the ring. He looked much larger than Devin Haney, even if he didn't weigh that much on the scale. He's just a bigger human. He's got a bigger body. So it always cracks me up when people are talking about him and Tank again. I'm like, these guys are 3 weight classes apart. Him and Devin and Tank are completely different sized humans. So for them to be stepping into the ring anytime soon, I think is absurd on its face. Ryan has outgrown the 135, the 140. He was killing himself to make 35 for a long time. Yeah, obviously, we saw that in his body change in 1 year between the Tank and the Devin fight. And then even the Devin fight, I mean, he looked like he was already outgrown 140 at that time. So I believe if he is to come back, especially having a year off, we're looking at a 147, 154-pound Ryan Garcia if he is to return to the sport, which, champ, in hindsight, yeah, I'm going to agree with you. Of course he's going to come back and fight again. There's nowhere that, granted, he makes tons of money outside of the ring. There's nowhere in the world today where someone who's 26, 25 years old can step into one place for a night and make the kind of money that he can right now. And that's not going to last. He can only do that for the next maybe decade, maybe 5 years, who knows. So to stay away from those purses is a very, very difficult thing to do. So yeah, George, to your point, I don't think we're going to see him anywhere near 140 again.
Paulie, what do you think? 147, 154? What do you think about Ryan Garcia's future weight class? 160 maybe? What do you think?
I don't know. I guess we'll see what the year off. I mean, I doubt he's getting tested when the year is off. So I don't know if he's going to be training. If he's going to be training, I wouldn't doubt that he possibly would dabble in some other PEDs and he comes back even bigger, and then certainly at 147, 154. Let's not forget this guy was at 130 not that long ago, and he went up to 135. Digging, he was killing himself to make 135. Then he couldn't make 140. In this generation, we have a generation where they just keep growing until they're like 30 years old. It's wild. And, it's beyond the human.
Sometimes till they're 40, guys keep growing. Which
it's beyond anything we've seen in human history before. But apparently, guys keep growing now. So I don't know. I mean, we'll see. It all depends on what he does in this whole year off. I mean, honestly, what am I, a psychic? We can't really. We don't know what Ryan Garcia is going to do in this year off. We just know he's not going to box for a year. That's for sure, because that's mandated. What about fighting overseas? Imagine he does that. Is that possible? Is his passport suspended? Is he suspended everywhere or just in the United States? You think maybe fighting overseas? What if he gets in with the sheiks over there? I don't know. I mean, I'm just thinking a possibility, because he does go to the Middle East as well for those fights, right?
That's a really great point.
Does the suspension count outside the U.S.? Remember when they banned Ali? Granted, it's a totally different situation. When they banned Ali, they had to take his passport so he wouldn't fight outside the country as well. 50 years ago, 60, 50.
Well, they banned Conor Benn in the UK, and he came to America and fought twice.
Yeah, so
twice.
So that's also something else you could keep in mind. Would he be allowed to fight somewhere else? Would he imagine this guy comes back and fights in a couple of months and just totally surprises everybody? Like the champ Chris said, you never really know what he's going to do. What if that's the next move?
Yeah, I think it's a legitimate case there for him to go overseas and continue his boxing career. With Ryan Garcia, you just never know what's going to happen. All right, time for a quick break here on Deep Waters. We'll keep this discussion going here on ProBox TV.
June 28th, live from the Entertainment and Sports Arena in Washington, D.C., WBA Super Featherweight World Champion Lamont Roach Jr. will defend his title against undefeated challenger, fearless Fergal McCrory of Ireland. Catch all the action live in Washington, D.C. on ProBox TV, or even better, download the ProBox TV app.
Big title fight here on ProBox TV. WBA Super Featherweight title on the line, with McCrory looking to pull off an upset against the hometown boy Lamont Roach Jr. Washington, D.C., June 28th. Well, tonight is a big fight. The WBO featherweight title is on the line when Rafael Espinosa takes on Sergio Chino. And if you're looking to make some pesos on this matchup, an all-Mexican matchup, check out Jim Rodriguez on the better side.
Back at it on the better side, and let's keep on going. We've had a great run, 7 out of 8 winning weeks. Let's go 8 out of 9. And we're going to go to Vegas for a Mexico versus Mexico showdown. It's Rafael El Divino Espinosa taking on Sergio Chino for the WBO featherweight title, the belt that Espinosa beat Ruiz Ramirez last December in what many said was the upset of the year. So let's go to sportsbetting.ag. What do we got for Espinosa versus Chino? Once again, a huge money line spread. Espinosa laying minus 900, while Chino plus 550. Listen, we know one thing about El Divino Espinosa, the champ. Lots of pressure, lots moving forward, jab, jab, jab. That constant pressure, I think, is going to get to Chino. Now, those odds, no interest, minus 900 plus 550. So what is the better side of this bet? Well, what about this? Listen, Espinosa in his 24 wins, more than half he has finished in under 3 rounds, while Chino, this is a huge step in class for him. So I'm thinking that the fight will go under 9.5 rounds. That's plus money at sportsbetting.ag, plus 105 to be exact. And the big money bet for us, our pizza and beer money bet, how about that Espinosa wins this fight by stoppage between rounds 4 through 6. Are you ready for this? Plus 450. I love El Divino. Mexico's going to be proud. Mexico versus Mexico in Vegas. That's a winning combination, right? So is Espinosa betting it on the better side.
Thanks, Jim. I think I might put my beer money there on Espinosa. We look at the tail of the tape between El Divino and Sergio. Don't call me Willie Chirino, as just one loss between the both of them, same age. But Espinosa has that height advantage, and this fight is for the WBO featherweight title. It is going to be fascinating tonight. Title fights tonight, Friday night. Definitely don't want to miss it. Put some coin on that fight as well. Well, Ryan Garcia, he has a lot of coin, and he has certainly been in the news. We are going to see what happens, what's going on with him. But I want to ask the champs, Paulie and Chris, in this whole saga, is there a winner and a loser? Is boxing the winner, boxing the loser? Is cheaters the winner or the loser? Chris, what's your thoughts on how would you score this if you had to give it a score? Who got the 10, who got the 9, who got the 8? What's your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, I think there's a lot of losers here. I think that a lot of guys are losing in their current situations. You got Devin Haney, who, yes, he lost the fight, but it's been expunged from his record. Guess what? He still took a beating from a bigger man who potentially was on PEDs. Or no, he was on PEDs, but was potentially enhanced by the PEDs. Then you got him and his value changing in the marketplace of the boxing world. He's now coming off of a beating, and we just saw his purse bid came out against Sandor Martin, which is not an easy fight, at a very low cost compared to what he's normally making. You don't think that was affected by the fact that he came off of a quote-unquote loss, which is now a no decision against Ryan Garcia? Of course it did. Of course it affected him. So Devin lost there. Yeah, he got the fight expunged. He got the loss expunged. The fight was not expunged. That moment happened. That night happened. He still took those punches. So, and his value has changed in the sport, which is indicative because of what we just saw from his fight purse, the purse bid coming for his next fight when his title defense against Sandor Martin. Then you got Ryan, who, yeah, sure, he made a lot of money. He had to give back a bunch of money. God only knows if he really made that bet or not. It's hard to understand what when he's telling the truth or not. So there's that. But listen, people are always going to think of him now as the guy who failed his PED test against the biggest win of his career. That's never going away. He's also going to be out of the ring for a year, missing multiple tens of $1 million paydays in the next 9, 12, 15 months. So, yeah, he's a big loser there too. Granted, yeah, he made a lot of money. Honestly, I don't think he cares. He's running around anyway, doing what he's going to do. But he's definitely losing out. And the fans are losing out because, we were excited about that fight. The outcome was unexpected, but also brilliant and fun and exciting. And we were all wrong. And we were eating crow. But guess what? We didn't need to. Because like boxing always does, it gives itself black eyes when anything good ever happens. So I'm going to be really not positive on this one. I'm going to be super negative. I am going to be pessimistic CA and say that everybody loses on this one.
So an 8-8 round, in other words. What do you think, Paulie?
Yeah, that's a great way to put it, 8-8.
Yeah. What do you think, Paulie? Winners and losers?
I think what you see in boxing is pretty consistent. The consequences as opposed to the potential reward of PED use is not balanced out, and that's why guys will always be using PEDs, and that's why the sport is probably more full of PEDs than any other professional sport. There's and that's not to say, listen, the guy had to pay $1 million fine. It's not chump change, but Ryan made a lot of money this fight. Honestly, a year of suspension, it's not the biggest deal, because honestly, you would have probably been out close to a year anyway, in comparison to the optics, you haven't, let's face it, man, an idiot generation. I mean, I see the comments of this guy's fans, an idiot, absolute idiot generation who doesn't even, consider the fact that this guy was a PED user. And so it has probably increased his standing within the community. So again, leading that example, setting the precedent that cheating does matter in boxing, you're probably better off doing it than not doing it, unfortunately, by the standard that these kind of things are setting us. Remember that Canelo Alvarez only got a 6-month ban when he got caught flat red-handed as well. If your name is big enough, you're not going to pay that heavy of a price. And then let's face the bottom line, more bottom lines. I mean, we've got a Hall of Fame that inducts in the first ballot guys who have been caught on PEDs in the first ballot, flat out, and so while baseball, who at least, which is again another sport that has struggled with this, at least makes the attempt. And there are guys who had amazing careers in Major League Baseball who still cannot get into the Hall of Fame because they were simply in a steroid era. They didn't even fail the steroid test, but they were in a steroid era doing those amazing things. So, this sport is just the cesspool of professional sports. I mean, it almost has like its own niche for that reason. It's just the corner for dirtbags, and this is yet another example of why that is. Devin Haney's brand is certainly taking a hit. The champ mentioned that as the Sandor Martin fight, which is a very tough fight. There was no bidding on it as well. There's an alleged blame on Haney as well early in his career that he bought a loss off of BoxRec as well. I don't know the truth to that. I haven't looked into it, but that's a pretty big rumor in boxing. I've heard of that a lot. I heard it a few years ago, and it's come out more and more to the forefront again. I don't know if that's true or not, but there is almost a karmic aspect to this, because if that loss is there, he probably isn't in the big fights at the moment. He's in the big fights that he got in now. Nothing makes it right or wrong. It's weird how things just play out in boxing. It's just like there's just a rollover effect. And then we're here, and yeah, I do think Ryan Garcia comes back, and there will be a curiosity and people will want to see him. Yeah, we'll see how it plays out.
Yeah,
I thought I was pessimistic. I thought I was the pessimistic side of the coin tonight. I guess not.
So I think you both agree you scored 8-8 the situation in boxing right now. And one thing's for sure, Paulie, karma always comes back at you, no matter who you are. All right, quick break here on Deep Waters. We'll continue the talk on the other side. Welcome back to Deep Waters, as I am enjoying some tainted mineral water here in South Florida. All right, let's keep going discussion with Devin Haney. Chris, what do you see Devin Haney in a year's time?
So, obviously we're talking about, we were talking about the Sandor Martin situation in terms of the purse bid. Wasn't a lot of buyers for that. I talked about the market value hit that Team Haney took because of the quote unquote loss, which has now been expunged from his record. Regardless, that night happened, and his value is going to change the market, and we're seeing that real time. I think it was a $2 million purse bid for his fight against Sandor Martin. Sandor Martin is not an easy fight. That's a very, very tough fight, especially coming off the fight that Devin Haney had against Ryan Garcia, getting dropped 3 times. You're seeing pictures of his face right now, grotesquely swollen. And he had done an interview and he mentioned, he's like, 1.7 million for me. He's like, I haven't made that since the beginning of his Matchroom deal, which was a number of years ago at this point. So he's going to be taking like a crazy pay cut if he's willing to take that fight. But now he's also saying, yeah, I'll take a year off. I'll hang out with my family. I'll recover. Which in terms of his recovery for mental, physical, physiologically, not the worst idea. But in terms of, keeping onto your belts, holding onto your belt, that's probably not going to happen. You're probably going to get tripped, which would give Sandor Martin an opportunity to be a world champion, and which could be very deserving. I would like to see him fight somebody very, very tough though to get that done. But still, I think Devin, he's another one. I mean, he's the master of his own craft. He's got a team behind him that, up until the Ryan Garcia negotiations, the fight week, made a lot of very smart decisions. I don't think I saw them make any bad decisions up until that week. And then, obviously the things with the weigh-in and the taking the money, things went a little south there. But I think they're gonna put their heads together and figure out what the best opportunity there for them to do is. But in terms of them fighting Sandor Martin for what is considered short money for him, I doubt that's going to happen. You lose to Sandor Martin for $1.7 million, kiss $10 million fights goodbye. That's a real opportunity. That's a real thought process in the head of the Haney team. They're looking ahead, getting back to those numbers again. You lose to Sandor Martin, who is very, very capable. It's not a crazy thing to think about. For that kind of money, boxing's tough, man. You lose that at a lower level in terms of monetary, you get stuck there. So it's a very, very dangerous fight and a tough situation for Team Haney.
Yeah, Sandor Martin, 42 wins, 3 losses, 15 wins by way of knockout. All right, Paulie, does Haney give up the WBC belt and continue on, or what do you see is his future? Where will he be in a year?
I think it's a definite possibility, and I could see that happening. I'm not convinced that Haney will, fight for that amount of money. I mean, honestly, once you get used to a certain threshold, it's hard to just come back down from it and stay motivated. And if you're going into a fight with Sandor Martin not motivated, it's you're at pretty high risk. Martin can fight.
Yeah, Devin Haney certainly is in a precarious position, we'll put it that way, because of the situation with Ryan Garcia. All right, time for another quick break here on Deep Waters, and we will keep it going on the other side. All right, welcome back to Deep Waters. All right, Paulie, Garcia Haney 2. Will it happen? Is there any interest in that fight? And if they do fight again, at what weight?
Yes, I think we see Garcia versus Haney too. The money is there. The interest is there. People want to know about this fight. People are curious about it. People want to see this fight. There's the controversy of, did he really cheat? Did it really affect him? You've got Ryan Garcia idiot fans telling me, oh, you know what? Those PEDs didn't fight for him. Yes, I get they didn't fight for him. But with that kind of mentality, these people will all feel like Ryan Garcia got done hard done by. And you know what? Pause. And from that reason, they'll want to see this fight again, and they'll think, you know what? He can make this right. And that's what they'll do. They'll make this fight again.
All right, Chris, same question. Will it happen? Any interest in that fight, and what weight?
Great points, champ. Tons of interest. Fight makes a lot of sense. Makes a lot of money. Makes dollars that make sense. But I don't think it happens. I think there's enough pitfalls on the way to that fight happening, and a lot of them come about because of Ryan Garcia's lifestyle and the way that he carries himself, that fight never happens. And it's probably unfortunate because, I mean, the first fight was awesome. It was a very, very enjoyable fight. I was there. Very highly contested. Devin. Hey, listen, people are saying like Devin got his ass kicked. It was a good fight. It wasn't a super wide fight. Yeah, he got beat up. He got hurt way more, but he was in that fight quite a bit. He hurt Ryan as well. So it was actually a very good fight. I would like to see it where they're both weighing in the same weight. But unfortunately, I'm gonna go down. I'm being pessimistic. I don't think the fight happens.
So quickly, guys, give me a number in terms of weight. What weight class? Quickly. What weight?
Welter.
Welter?
Yeah, 47. Yeah. 47. I think Haney's going to 47 too, and that's another reason why I don't think that Sandor Martin fight's going to happen. He struggled mightily to make that weight against Ryan. I don't think we're going to see Devin. Devin is not going to stay at 40 long. He was going to use it like a lot of other fighters did as a springboard weight class to get up to 47. It was a much bigger one. And I think he's physically growing as well. So yeah, I think we would, if we were to see that fight, it'd be at 47. But I'm telling you right now, we're not going to see it.
Well, we still have a year, at least a year, before they can even start negotiating for that fight. That would be a great rematch for sure. All right, Paulie and Chris, thanks for your time. Great stuff as usual. Don't forget to like and subscribe on our YouTube channel. Enjoy your weekend, fight fans. This is Deep Waters only on ProBox TV, your boxing channel.